Hey, what's up? It's DJ. I'm going to be breaking down some clips from FarmCon 25 having to do with the Highlands fishing expansion, mainly dealing with boats, fishing, and equipment. Let's start with boats. We've got 3 clips to take a look at, one of which is all about loading the boat and using the crane. One has to do with driving the boats, and the third is all about handling of products and how it's going to interact with the fisheries. It's important to note that the footage that we have is quite limited in the grand scale of things, and we only have one ship to take a look at. However, it gives us a great idea of what to look forward to and may answer some of your questions. So let's jump right in. So our first clip here is showing off the forklift that we've got in the game, loading up. Now this is loading up not only juvenile fish, but it's also loading up fish food because we will have to continue feeding them. If you want to see that, check out the video about fish. Now what it's doing right now is loading things on here. You notice that not only are we docked on the side, so we've got this little pier right here that we're docked into, but we're able to drive on it as well, which makes things really interesting. So we're not only going to be able to move pallets and things like that, but we're also going to be able to move vehicles, which is really exciting, especially with that boat anyway. And here we're loading up fish food, and this is loaded up a little bit differently. What we're going to do is we're going to be using the crane to bring it in, and this is really neat. So you can see here we've loaded up the cargo vessel, the lizard cargo vessel. We're bringing out the crane, and it's going to give us these green bits we attach to them. Click, just like that, we get the green straps, and now it's bringing it up and we're able to handle the pallets. We don't know if every pallet will have these, but I imagine it will. Also, those green lines looked very, very similar to what we see with the Nexat DLC, which I find pretty exciting. So, you just take this, bring it out, and drop it down. We do have a couple different camera modes, so if you've got a camera mode that you like best, you can use that. Now, sadly, we only get to see the cargo ship in this scene. It would be really nice to see some other stuff. We do know that there are other brands coming into the game, which do have different aquatic vehicles coming, so that's pretty cool. But of course, I imagine most of them will be lizard branded. Our next clip is all about driving the boat, and this is really cool because I have confirmation from Giants that we'll be able to drive the boats and the aquatic vehicles just like anything else. And they were actually really excited that you could drive things on the boat, so I imagine we'll be able to drive things on the boat while the boat is driving. So multiplayer could get very interesting, especially driving around. We see this one moves fairly slowly. We've got the jets or propellers coming around towards the backside of this ship, and we can see everything. We can also see behind my big ol' head, there's also some other boats back there. Now, I don't know if this is going to be like GTA where you could just take any boat, but I have heard that there is a separate boat dealer where you buy all of your boats from and you store them. So that's kind of interesting. I figured it wouldn't be from the main store. It may be, but it may just be the store on this map could be right beside the water, and that's where your boats go. I don't know how it's going to work on every single map. It may be very specific to this one. We will have to wait and see. Of course, water, there's a ton of water here. It's really awkward and really interesting being out in the middle of it, especially someone who doesn't use third-party boat mods because there are none on the mod hub. It's kind of interesting, to be fair. We'll go 20 kilometers per hour, it looks like, or miles per hour, not quite sure. And we have drive, neutral, and reverse, as you would expect, and even an interior camera view. Going back to the beginning again, you can see we have to go upstairs in order to go in, and we can even see our character in there too. The front is now going to fold closed, just like that. I'm guessing that the boats just stay wherever they're gonna be parked up, so if you pull it somewhere and you leave it, that's where it belongs. I would also imagine you'd be able to tab to the boat, so we won't have to worry about accidentally leaving them in the middle of the water when we save our games. You can see the pallets there are not strapped down, at least by the looks of it, they're not strapped down. Everything is staying still. There's nothing like jolting around or shaking or moving. So this gives me a lot of hope that the boats will be extremely stable, especially with an early build like this. We're currently recording in July, and this comes out in November. So if it appears to be this stable this early on, that gives me high hopes for the future. The last clip we're going to look at, we've already docked with our fishing area. It just kind of pulled forward, didn't do anything. It didn't click a button to lock it into place. Again, water moves around, but apparently not in Farming Simulator. Here we're going to be using the crane. We're at one of the fisheries that we've placed down. We're going to be unloading off some food. So the crane, again, this is one of the views that you've got. Spins it around, and now we can go back to those green bits. You can see right there, again, it looks exactly like what we have with the Nexat pack. It's going to pick that up, bring it over, and drop it off. So this is fish food. So we've got to feed the fish that we've got out here. This scene, to be fair, doesn't show a lot about the boat, but we have been able to come out, and we can even see some of the areas behind it as well. So that's kind of nice. We've got our juvenile fish right here, the young fish. Bringing them in, swinging, baby, swinging. And it'll drop those off. So now the fish have been moved, the food's out there, and everything is all good. And there you go. Boats are quite interesting with Farming Simulator. The way they work on PC does not appear to be the way that they're going to work with this DLC. We do know that we'll have multiple different types of watercraft, and one of the ones that I was kind of interested in was Can-Am, because Can-Am doesn't actually make watercraft. However, their sister company, Sea-Doo, does. However, Sea-Doo has not been mentioned or announced at this time, but I think this would be the perfect opportunity to add that. We also know, at least as of that vehicle, the cargo ship, that will have a crane, but we don't know any of the other specifications or anything that could be added to any other boats. But I am interested to see what you have to say. What do you think is going to be added with some of the other boats? I'm guessing we'll be getting the large ships. The one that we've seen may even be the largest one. However, we may also see some much smaller things. And of course, we also have dinghies and other stuff like that that's already in the game. We just can't drive them yet. Hopefully that will be a thing too. So that's everything we know about boats and everything that we've got. Now let's talk about fishing, including fish productions, aquaculture, the handling and transportation of goods, and offshore fisheries, which, to be fair, basically the aquaculture. This is part 2 of my series, breaking down everything that we know from FarmCon, including boats, fish, and equipment. So if you want to see those other 2 videos, check out the expansion playlist, link down below. So in order to get some fish, we've got a couple different things that we can do. We will definitely want to be getting some fish food. So here you can see some fish food, which has been loaded up onto an AgriLiner trailer. This fish food will need to be unloaded, and it will need to be placed by this guy over on the left-hand side of the screen. It kind of looks like a rice production a little bit, one of the rice greenhouses. However, it's basically a fish greenhouse. And there's fishes in there. You can also see we got some pallets outside already. Those are the young fish. We got salmon and trout, at least confirmed right now. So we place down the fish food, and that will feed our little baby fishies. Boom, and there it goes. Now going into the production, here you can see this section here, and I'm going to stop this just for a moment so we could take a look at it. Up here at the top left, we see the AS25, which is a different production that we've shown off in the equipment. However, fish breeding is the production that we're showing here. And yes, it is a production chain. We have young salmon and young trout. What we do is we put in fish food, and then we get out these young salmon and young trout. Taking a look at this, inputs are going to be 10,000 liters for all of the above. So you can see in young salmon, we have 34 liters in there right now out of 10,000. Not making any trout, but this is how you're going to get these guys. Now with the production, you can see inside, we've got all the fish swimming around, which is very, very cool. Fish food is input as well. We got 5,900 liters, at least in this clip. And well, that's kind of it. You could place down a couple of these if you would like. Of course, it runs like a normal production. And then out here, you can see we've got young salmon. We have salmon on the side of it, so the icons are going to be a little bit different per pallet, just so you know which one is which. And because it's a pallet, we have to, again, load them up onto the trailer. Once we've got everything loaded up, then we can strap it all down, and then we've got to head down to the docks. And this is where we get to add in our aquaculture. So this is a brand new section into the game, aquaculture. This is going to be in the productions, and it looks like it's going to be right after generators, I think. I can't remember what order these go in. Nonetheless, we do have a couple controls at the top. Place item, toggle free mode, customize, toggle snapping, and zoom camera. Yes, you can customize these. So as we drag it out, it looks like they're rotating the item now. And then we're going to get into the customization. So production site right here, we have a 1x2. So it is one row of 2 of them. Then we can go from there. 2 of 2, which gives us 4, and then a 3x2, which gives us 6 of them. You can also see in the smack dab center, we have a dock. So we will be able to dock our boat right there, bring things in and all kinds of stuff. That also looks like it's got a outline on it. So that could be as well where our stuff comes from, which is very cool. Say pallets, stuff comes from. Pallets are spawned. That's what I meant to say. Speaking of pallet spawn, where my mouse is right now in the dead center, where their mouse is rather, that is where the pallets are going to go in. So that's where you put in fish food as well as your salmon or trout, so they can go from young to adults, which is kind of neat. Well, yeah, and there's a 4x2 there as well. They aren't crazy expensive, but it's enough. So just a heads up through there, looks like prices are going to start around $25,000. I think this one was $45,000. So there you go. This is a clip actually from the boat clips and sections where they're offloading the pallets. So if you want to see the boat video, definitely go check that out. One nice thing is pallet handling has been made a little bit easier and gives us something a little bit different to do. If you're using the crane on this, the cargo vessel, for example, we will be getting some different things. You'll see green things pop up there. There you go, where we can actually lift things by crane from now on. So that's kind of cool. Now we've got a much better idea of what things are looking like once we get over to the fish production. Obviously, you can see in a semicircle right there, we've got the place where we're going to be putting the fish food as well as the young salmon. And then we've got a really nice look right around here. He's going to turn, bam! Right there, we get a really nice look of what looks to be where all of our pallets are going to be spawning. Now, this is going to be interesting, especially if our adult fish spawn right here, because that is just a little barge on the very side. So I'm not quite sure if you're going to be unloading anything there by hand. You could probably put the front of the boat down there right there. That might be a way to do that, the cargo ship, and then take your pallet fork down there. But I imagine the crane is probably going to be the way to go there, or if anything else, selling directly. Obviously, you're going to get more money if you don't do that, but that is one way to do it. Let's keep it moving. So down here, of course, you can see we've got our fish food, and then we've also got our young fish. Grabbing the crane, again, something we showed off in the boats video, and we may go into that in the equipment video as well. Swinging them around and grabbing a hold of our pallets. Again, as you can see, we get those green markers and then straps attached to that. That is going to be a manual thing, but doing it all is automatic. Bringing it in and dropping it down. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to do this any other way. I don't see any way to get up there with any other pallets, so this may be something that you may want to put this a little closer to shore than expected, because otherwise you're going to have to use a boat to do all of this. I wonder if there will be a way to do this without having to use a boat. That would be very interesting. And of course, here near the end, we get a much better shot at the place where you load everything in. And then we even have everything up at the top. Now, unfortunately, my screen is currently blocking out all the stuff at the very bottom. But we can see we've got fish food and young salmon in there. And this is the offshore aquaculture, is what it's called. And we jump over to it. Bam. And we get a really, really good shot at everything that we have here. So whenever we're loading in with this one, we have our fish food in, we've got our young salmon in, we've got our young trout in. This is more than the young fish breeding. We've also got here 20,000 liters of everything instead of 10,000. Inputs, fish food, young trout, young salmon, as we mentioned. Outputs are going to be salmon and trout, so it doesn't say adult. It just says these are the ones that you get. It looks like at least for the salmon, we've got 20 fish food and 100 young salmon is going to be getting out 100 salmon. So it looks like the fish count stays exactly the same. You just got to feed them. That makes sense, right? And our last clip that we're going to look at is really just an overview of the aquaculture itself around the outside. This is behind the area that we just showed off, and we're just kind of walking along the pathway here. So this is where I imagine if you wanted to dock, probably at the other end would be the best place. I don't know where the collisions are going to be with this, but I imagine they're probably going to be all over the place. And here, really, this clip, all it does is shows us the fish swimming around. That is it. So we can see all of the fish in the water swimming, and then we have our aquaculture, which is in here. This allows the fish to go from young adults, or younglings, to adults. It's kind of neat. One thing that we haven't seen yet is regular fishing, where you throw out the lure and then reel them in. I imagine that will be a thing, but having just one fish at a time, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out. Nonetheless, this is very cool, and it's still very creepy, and it's going to take a lot of getting used to be out in the water like this. Something like this would freak me out in real life. I love swimming, but I hate open water. So this is cool, but it still leaves quite a few unanswered questions. Number one, fishing off the shore, or fishing off of docks, or fishing just by hand with a reel and the rod. Do we need bait? How much is that going to take? Is it one fish food? Does one fish food equal one fish? I don't know. There's another thing to talk about as well. Fishing from boats. We know that we're getting plenty of boats in the game, but can we fish all of those? Oh, did I take my headphones off? What just happened? There we go. That's much better. We do know that we're getting more than 20 new items into the game, and we'll talk more about those in speculation in the equipment video. However, with boats and things like that, how many of the pieces of equipment that we're going to be getting will be boats? Is it different? Is the boat equipment? Fishing for boats is super, super popular. So being able to fish off the side of a dinghy or a fishing boat. Maybe there's fishing boats that we drive around and slowly accumulates fish. This could be very cool, and it could be very awesome. I don't expect it to be as cool in the game. I do honestly expect it to just be fairly straightforward and quite limited at the end of the day. Most other things in Farm Sim are, so I'm kind of expecting that. Wants and expectations are very far apart with this expansion. However, I am extremely optimistic with this. There's still a lot that we don't know, so fishing in general still has a lot of unanswered questions. Is there only one type of aquaculture? Are modders going to be able to make their own? There's a lot of really cool stuff that could happen here. And at least for the expectation of coolness and being different, that I'm very excited about. Now we make our way over to the final category, equipment. We've got a lot to talk about here, and it's the largest section of the video, including the Skoda Octavia, JCB 2110, JCB 4220 Icon, Onion production, though it's not really new equipment, we're still going to talk about it, and more, including what I think is that MB track in the back left. Now, some equipment, for example, is new, and we'll be getting with this pack. Some of it is not new. For example, this little guy right here, that is the JCB 2110. Very, very cool. We actually see this one a lot, and I think Farming Simulator's kind of led with this piece of equipment specifically as kind of like the one that they're showing the most. There's quite a bit of JCB coming with this pack. As our character spins around right here, we're going to be able to see a couple things. So way off in the distance, we've got a New Holland. Now, we do get to see that one later on. It's the T8020. So we are getting a little bit of an older T8, which is very, very cool. In this screenshot, we kind of see both of them. So we got the Massey Ferguson 8570, referring to both of them there. Base game Combine Harvester, nothing crazy there. And then we have that New Holland in the background. I don't actually know which model number that one is specifically, but I do know that later on, we do get to see the 8020, so that is nice. There off on the right-hand side, we've got another blue trailer. And I believe that's actually this one, the Bunting trailer. We're going to talk about this one a little bit later, but I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Here we get to see the tractor and the car a little bit together. Taking a look. I believe that says 8020 on it, so that is good news. I'm very, very, very excited about that tractor. It's going to be really nice having that in. And then, of course, here we have our Skoda Octavia. This one is a new car that's coming. It will be the third Skoda vehicle that we've got. So we've gotten a bit of an SUV crossover kind of thing, smaller compact car a little bit, the electric one. And then this one is more of a mid-sized sedan. Kind of neat. Something else we got are red buses. Now, I don't think we're going to be able to drive these, but they are driving around. Of course, here we see a red van, and here's a red bus coming over the hill. Now, they also say something. Highlands 25. Of course, that is the DLC that we've got. Yeah, it's kind of neat, right? I think it's kind of neat. Now, not really vehicles per se, but there's a lot of boats in these screenshots here specifically. And I'd be very interested to see which one of these boats we're going to be able to buy, are there any of them that we own? We do know, at least we've been told, that there is an area where you can buy boats, or at the very least, store the boats. I don't know where that is. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm very interested to see how it works and where it works. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if there's any other way to put that. Nonetheless, still very cool. We do get to see a lot of different types of boats here. They're not vehicles per se, but they are drivable. Some of them, anyway. We just don't know which ones. Here's another shot at a couple more, so you'll be able to kind of get another idea of which ones you might or might not be able to use. Also, down at the right-hand side, there is a little pier down there coming out, and that's actually where we showed off things in the boats and fish videos. So if you haven't seen those, check those out. We also have something very, very cool here as well. A train. It's based on a little bit of an older steam locomotive. You got the numbers 460 on the side. Kind of a setup here. So you can see under my head, we've got a green car train there, probably passenger car. They're not looking like we can move that, but this one looks like we can. Let's see if we could figure out. So maybe a grain bin on the back in white. Definitely that rear section in black is coal. And then maybe some more tipper stuff. And maybe a logging train car in the back. And then finally maybe a flatbed, something like that. We will have to wait and see. We'll see how far this video goes down. Doesn't look like they're going to go down very far at all. What is this called? Just train. So nothing while I'm crazy. Would be nice for that to be named something else, but train it is. And boy, oh boy, is it steaming. Did that just say giants? Hang on a minute. Yes, it does. That says giants in graffiti. Nice. Very, very nice indeed. Yeah, I think the train is the last one in this clip. Going 80 kilometers per hour, so I think about the same speed as the other ones. And we're absolutely right on the cars. There is a logging car or logging train, as well as a flatbed on the very back. So that's everything that was shown off on the map itself. Now let's get into the field and see all of the equipment that we see there. And we shall start with this guy. So this is the JCB 2135. So a little bit of a higher engine horsepower on this one, because you need to be faster. You know, interestingly, I've gotten written in my notes a 2110, but it is showing 2135, so we must be getting a little bit more horsepower on here. We also are going to be seeding onions. At least I believe we're going to be seeding onions. You might be able to see at the very bottom behind the pause screen, which I can't get rid of for some reason in Windows. It says the Monosim Ilm S. It's got 22 liters of seed in it, so it does look like it is going to work exactly like the other vegetable crops that we have. So probably it's just going to be found in the vegetables crops section like we had in Sri Lanka. And here's another look from the back of it if you want to check that out. We may or may not be getting more than one different type of vegetable seeder. Would be really cool if maybe this also works with the other vegetables that we've got. Gives people another option. At least that would be nice. We're going to jump in here. Yep, JCB 2135. So very cool there. Pull it through. Onions, of course, are loaded in. They are using GPS, so, I mean, obviously it's going to work with that, but of course it does. We have the all-wheel steering with this JCB, just like we do all of our other JCBs, minus the 8000 series, and it looks like that's going to be continuing. We know of at least 3 different JCBs with this one. We've got this guy, the 2000 series, we've got a 4000, and then we've got an 8000 series, which we'll check out a little bit later on. But here you go. It's planting onions. I don't think you want to sit and watch this all day long. You're going to be doing that enough in November. We'll give them this. The interior looks really nice on this. Super detailed, highly detailed. I mean, we're getting nearly 20 years into Farming Simulator's lifespan at this point. It is nice to see that they're really starting to pay a lot more attention to the interiors on these. The spraying video I found to be kind of interesting because, as far as I know, we already have all of the stuff that's being shown off here. Now, we do have onions in the ground. They are currently growing. They've got 50% fertilization on them, and they're going to come through and fertilize them. So at least you could see kind of how they're growing and how they're lined up. This gives you a much better idea seeing the onions. Not really equipment, but still very cool to see. And I think our care wheels line up with these. So that is something nice if you're looking for that as well. However, we have this tractor, we have the sprayers. I don't think there's really anything new here. At least I think we have these sprayers. Do we have these sprayers? That front take looks a little bit different. Then we get into onion harvesting. And this is where we get to see the JCB 4220 icon for the first time. Yeah. Onions, nobody cares. Skip forward. So as far as the equipment here, we have the Highlands UMR 300FC. Now this is going to basically take your onions. It's going to cut the top off. It is going to dig the onions up out of the ground, and it is going to put them in a nice little perfect windrow right smack dab in the middle for you guys. And then it will go under the tractor, and then you can pick them up and decide which way to go with it there. Pretty neat little piece of equipment. I really like it. Then we get into the tractor itself. This is the Icon 4220, as we mentioned. We do have a mod of this already. Mr. Ross in Mods has got his mod out for it, so if you want to download it, you could just go do that. It does seem that Ross and Giants are putting out very similar things currently, and Ross is beating them to it every time. The rear... This is going to take the onions out and is going to either send them left, right, or drop them in the middle. So you can combine windrows up each side. You have 5 levels or 5 rows of onions all in one. This is the Highlands UR 205. If you feel like looking it up, you could do that if you wish. Then we get a little bit of a better look at the back here. This is where it's got the center swath drop, but you can take the left side, bring it in, right side, bring it in. Kick them off left and right, whatever you want to do. We also get to see it working in the field a little bit as well, but as far as the equipment names, stuff like that, there's really not a whole lot to it. Would be nice to see it going. There we go. The trouble of not being able to have control over the video itself. So there it is. That is how that is going to work. And after that, we get into the New Holland T8020, and I'm super excited about this one. On the back, we also have a Ropa. I believe it was the Ropa, where's my notes? Ropa Keller 2 Silver Edition. So it's a little bit different than the one that we got with the Farming Simulator 17 DLC, but still pretty nice and pretty cute. And I know there's a lot of people that are super excited about this one. I've seen quite a few modders talking about this tractor. I know Virtual Farmer's super pumped to see it as well. I am super pumped to see it. More New Holland, more blue tractors. Let's go. And there's a little bit of a better look at the Keller 2, or is it Keller? Kyler? Is it Kyler? Have I been saying it wrong this whole time? I don't know. There's a bore at the back of it. Silver Edition. Yeah. This is going to take your onions from where they are in the ground in your windrows and pick them up and put them in. I don't know if we could just use this instead of the other pieces of equipment, the Highlands, but maybe not. We will have to wait and see. I am very pumped for these pieces of equipment, though. It's something different, something unique. Not everybody has to do it. If you're not interested, you don't have to get the pack. If you're not interested in any of this, you don't have to get the pack. That is okay. If you don't like the stuff in it, you're not missing anything, and I totally support you guys not getting and not paying for things that you don't want. If you want to see it in action, we'll be able to see it a little bit here, so just kind of drops it down there. And it picks up the onion swaths just like that. Again, you can merge these onion swaths together. They have not done that in this video. However, you can, if you would like, merge 2 or 3 of them together, depending on which way you kick them off. Be pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. But this is nice. Looks like it's going to hold a good amount as well. Let's see when we get up to about 20% here. 17, 18, 19, and 20. So we got 2,200 liters is 20%. So about an 11,000 liter capacity, somewhere right there. I totally didn't pause the video to do math. I'm not allowed to do it live, so. Nonetheless, how cool is that? Very cool, something different. I love it. Now, there are multiple different productions that are being added with the DLC. Just from my notes alone, I've got a stone quarry, stone mason, offshore aquaculture, and fish market, as well as the onion the onion palletizer, just to name the ones that I saw. There could be more. However, this is really the only one that we got an up-close look at. So we see we've probably got I think it's Case Puma up there with the Rudolph trailer. I don't know if it's TDK or EDK, DDK, whatever. And then it's going into the Highlands potato palletizer. It kind of looks like it cleans it a little bit, maybe, and then puts it into bags. At the very least, it is putting it into bags. Now, I'm going to stop this real quick. AFS Connect Puma 260. Do we have that model? All right, I just had to go look. Yes, we do have this model already. All right, well, just ignore that part. Moving forward, let's jump in here. You can see we've got the dump trigger for unloading onions, and it's going to dump them out into the production, which, very cool. It's kind of nice to see a production with some animations on the outside. Check that out. Going up in. Very cool, very cool. Gonna dump all of these out, and then we come over here to the production and check it out. So, building storage of onions, it is the AS25, and now we get a little bit of a better look at it. So, onions packed is going to be the production here. 15,000 liters of onions in, 15,000 liters of onions out. We assume that the packed onions, which are palletized, will give us more money. You would expect that anyway. I don't know how much extra money we're going to get. I don't even know if we will be getting extra money. I assume we will, but nonetheless, here, 10 in, 10 out is the recipe, and you're going to be doing 1,272 cycles per month, and it's going to cost you $120 per month cost. So not too high, not too low. What you would expect for base game. Then we come outside and check it out, and we can see our palletized onions right there. At least here in the United States, this is kind of what we expect to see at the supermarket. Just, well, maybe a little bit smaller bags, but still nonetheless. So now jumping over to a different video. This is the one all about fish, and with this one specifically, we get to see a couple things that we already have. So we have the Unheinrich forklift there. That is something we already have, but we also have the JCB off into the distance there as well. I do believe the AgriLiner trailer right there is one we already have, though. So here's a little bit of a better look at it as well. So this was also the 2135. I don't know why I'm in my notes, the 2110. It was a different one completely altogether. I swear I saw a 2110 in here. Nonetheless, very nice, very cool tractor. Again, we get to see the interior, but otherwise it's exactly the same as the other one that we got to see, so nothing too wild and crazy here. Oh yeah, and we do have our Highland cattle there off in the distance as well. We really haven't talked about those in any of the videos because they weren't talked about at FarmCon, but they are happening. They will exist. They're super cute. Again, another sneaky peek here at the JCB once we've come down to the docks to unload everything. The fast track's there, all the equipment is here, but nothing different. And then our last clip about vehicles is quite literally titled Vehicles. What they've done is we pulled a few things out. We have the Massey Ferguson 7S right here, as well as the AgriSpread AS2100 SCS. This is a fertilizer spreader that is coming with the pack. We've also got screenshots of it already, so it's not something we didn't know about. It's just really nice to see it. I think we should be getting a little 360 right here. You know, with the 7S, do we have the 6S in the game? I don't think we do we? I would love to have that. That would be great to see. We had the 5 and the 7 and the 8 and the 9 now. Where's the 6 at? Nonetheless, good looking piece of equipment right here. Fertilizer spreaders. Not too complicated as far as farming simulator goes. Real life could be a completely different story there, but good looking spreader nonetheless. And then we come down to the bunning spreader that we talked about earlier off in the video. This is a fertilizer spreader for manure. I don't know why I said it like that. It's a manure spreader is what it is. It might do lime as well. I don't know that for sure yet. We will have to wait and see, but it is nice to see this nonetheless. And we also have the JCB at the front, an 8000 series. I don't remember exactly which one that was because I don't know if I actually have any notes on it, to be fair. 8330 icon, I believe is what it is. So there you go. If we got close to it, it probably would say as well. Nonetheless, this one is the Lowlander wide body from Bunning. It's such a cool piece of equipment. Now, when we get to the other side, this is where it gets interesting because we have what people are speculating to be an MB track over there on the left-hand side. It is obviously green. It's got some red marks under it. It's got the same cabin styling, and if you zoom in, it even has a Mercedes-Benz icon right in the middle. So, I don't know what else to do at this point other than wait for Giants to finally announce that Mercedes is the 4th DLC. Or is it coming with this pack? Oh man, wait, is it coming with this pack? Oh, now I'm all over the place. What if it's not in the 4th pack? Nonetheless, we keep it going, and we also get a better look at the JCB right here as well. And there it is, the 8330 icon. So we are getting some JCBs with this. That's at least 3 confirmed. The 2135, 23, whatever it is, the smaller one. The 4220 8320, and then this guy, the 8330. So at least 3 JCBs confirmed. Could be more. So that is all of the equipment that we got to see this year at FarmCon 25 in Austria. There was unfortunately nothing else shown. Of course, we're still waiting to find out how boats work. We did a whole video on that. Still didn't get much information out of it, unfortunately. It is really nice to see all of this equipment coming as well. We know we're getting more than 20 pieces of equipment, which is really nice to see. It's a pretty big pack. I mean, it's like $30, so it's a pretty expensive pack as well. But yeah, I'm interested to hear what you think. Tell me what you think. Are you excited about this equipment, or is there more equipment that you want to see? There's still plenty that's left to be announced yet, so more is coming. Don't forget, the Highlands fishing expansion for Farming Simulator 25 will be released on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025 for PC, Mac, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. Pre-orders are live right now, and you can pick up the expansion for $30 USD. But if you use my link in the description, you can save an extra 10% on the PC version. If you own the Year 1 Season Pass, you will receive the DLC as part of that, so no need to pre-order or anything like that. You'll be able to simply download the DLC on launch day. Included is a new map, Kinleg, based in Scotland. We have a new crop, onions. Highland cattle are being added, along with fish farming, and over 20 machines to farm on land and water from new brands like Monosim, Can-Am, AgriSpread, and GT Bunning. For more information, check out the Highlands Fishing Expansion playlist, link below. And that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. Drop a like, get subscribed, join the DjGoHam fam, double check the notifications. That way you never miss videos like this one. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you in the next one.